and future State Senator Lou Gargiulo, New Hampshire Republican Party Chairman Steve Stepanek, to all the veterans who are with us today, candidates, my fellow Americans, it is great to be back in live free or die country. And I got to tell you, to be here in the Granite State, just 42 days away from another great victory for the American people when New Hampshire and America vote for 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. I got to tell you, I know he was just here in New Hampshire a little bit ago. But when I talked to him this morning and told him I was headed back to the Granite State, I think he sounded just a little bit jealous. Because I got to tell you, you have a president and a vice president who know it all started here in the first in the nation primary state. And the road to victory goes straight through New Hampshire. But thank you all for coming out today. It's a beautiful day and great to be with so many friends. And I'm especially grateful to be here with a successful businessman. I love you too, doggone it. Especially great to be here with a successful businessman. He left home when he was 17 years old. Went over to West Point, became an Army Ranger, served with distinction in uniform. He came home, studied the law, and now he's founded a firm that employs more than 300 people in 9 cities. And now he has stepped up to represent the state of New Hampshire and Washington, D.C. Would you join me in thanking the next great senator from the state of New Hampshire, Corky Messner? Let us start. What a great guy. I'm also proud to be joined by 2 other future leaders who are with us today. In the 1st Congressional District is a man who served as a senior advisor in this administration in the White House, the State Department. I'm telling you what, he was also a trusted advisor in that historic campaign in 2016. He is a man of principle, a great caliber who will stand for all of our God-given liberties in the Constitution of the United States. And in the 2nd District, you got a retired Army Air Force officer, from a military family who founded a veteran-owned business in Nashua. He's going to be a great voice for our national defense. Let me tell you, New Hampshire and America need you to send Matt Mowers and Steve Negrin to the United States House of Representatives. And we need him there in a new Republican majority. Thank you, guys. 2 great men, 2 great candidates, and it's an honor to be with them and to be with you, Corky. It's great to be here, though, folks. And it's amazing to think, here in this first in the nation primary state, you knew that America could be strong again. You knew that America could be prosperous again. A movement that began in this state has continued, brought our country to all new heights, and brought us through challenging times. So many of you said yes to President Donald Trump in 2016, but I'm here 42 days from Election Day because I know New Hampshire is going to say yes to 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. And it's because of what we've all done together. It's incredible. 4 years ago, we inherited a military that had been hollowed out by budget cuts, an economy that was struggling to break out of the slowest recovery since the Great Depression. Terrorism was on the march around the world. and we witnessed a steady assault on our most cherished values. But in 3 short years, we rebuilt our military. We restored the arsenal of democracy, and I got to tell you, as the father of a United States Marine and the father-in-law of a Navy pilot, I couldn't be more proud to be vice president for a president who stands so strong for the men and women of our armed forces and their families and our veterans. So it wasn't just our national defense. This president also revived our economy. We cut taxes across the board for working families, small businesses, and family farms. We rolled back more federal red tape in the last 3.5 years than any administration in American history. We unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and in just 3 short years, businesses large and small created more than 7 million good-paying jobs, including 19,000 jobs right here in the Granite State. In those first 3 years, wages were rising at their fastest pace in more than 10 years, and they were rising most rapidly for hardworking blue-collar Americans. In the midst of all of that, more security, more prosperity, President Donald Trump has stood without apology for the sanctity of human life. We've stood for life, and we've stood for all our liberties. As I stand before you today, this president has also seen more than 200 federal judges confirmed to our federal courts at every level, and I can tell you, they are all principled conservatives who will support the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution, like the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, and the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Principal judges like Justice Neil Gorsuch and Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And let me take a minute. Let me take a minute to thank a former Attorney General and your former Senator who played a critical role in seeing our first nominee confirmed. She was there at Justice Neil Gorsuch's side every step of the way in our first year in office. Join me in thanking former Senator Kelly Ayotte for a great job for America. Thank you, Senator. Senator Ayotte was there to work with members of the Senate when there was an opening in the United States Supreme Court, and history records the difference that it's made. But we've come to another such time, haven't we? And let me say, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg lived an inspiring life. She paved the way for women in the law, and America mourns the passing of a true public servant. The Constitution of the United States provides that the President shall appoint judges to the Supreme Court. And before the week is out, after we honor the life and memory of Justice Ginsburg, President Donald Trump will do just that. This Saturday, President Donald Trump will nominate another principled conservative, a woman to the Supreme Court of the United States. And after the United States Senate fulfills their duty to advise and consent, we're going to fill that seat. We're going to fill that seat. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it in an election year, I promise you. You know, it's amazing to think since George Washington all the way through Barack Obama, there have been 29 vacancies during an election year on the Supreme Court of the United States. And on 29 occasions, the president nominated a judge to fill the seat on the Supreme Court. President Trump is going to do his duty, and we're going to have one more strong conservative on the highest court in the land. So our president has stood for a strong national defense, less taxes, less regulation, free and fair trade. We've stood every day for the rule of law, appointing judges at every level of our federal courts. And as I stand before you today, I can tell you firsthand, President Donald Trump has stood every day with the men and women who serve in law enforcement all across America, and we are going to stand with them for 4 more years. Now, President Trump and I know the men and women of law enforcement are some of the best people in this country. They put their lives on the line every single day. They literally count our lives more important than their own. And those who serve on the thin blue line of law enforcement deserve the respect of every American every single day. But it's been an extraordinary time through which we're living, isn't it? Just in the last few weeks alone, we've seen even more attacks on our heroes in uniform. Last week, 2 gunmen attacked the home of 2 New Jersey police officers and their 10-day-old little girl. Investigators reported that the gunmen pulled up to the front of their home and fired 6 rounds into the house. 2 bullets pierced through the front door. By the grace of God, thankfully, neither the couple nor their newborn baby were injured. But that attack followed just a couple of days after 2 Los Angeles sheriff's deputies were shot, literally in cold blood, as they sat on patrol in their squad car. You all saw the video. And I know you also saw the video of someone standing across the street, having seen the shooting, literally laughing. And then people going to the hospital, blocking the way to the emergency room and chanting, "We hope they die." Men and women of New Hampshire, the attacks and disrespect of law enforcement must stop, and it must stop now. Now, President Trump and I will always support the right of Americans to peaceful protest, but rioting and looting is not peaceful protest. Burning businesses is not free speech. Threatening or engaging in violence against innocent civilians or those in law enforcement will not be tolerated, and those who do so will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. We're not going to have it. That's why in our first 3 years, I'm proud to report, our president secured funding for more than 4,000 more police officers on the streets of this country through the COPS program. And in the wake of this summer's violence in major cities around America, President Trump took action. We launched Operation Legend. We deployed more than 1,000 federal law enforcement officers to work hand in glove with county and state and local law enforcement in the cities that have been impacted. And I have to tell you, we've already seen the arrest of more than 2,500 violent protesters in cities across America. We are going to have law and order in every city, in every state, in America for every American of every race and creed and color. So help us God. Now, for months, all Joe Biden ever talked about was peaceful protesters, remember? As the American people literally watched businesses and communities burn. Now, a few weeks back, he did, I think he went to Pittsburgh, where the president's headed today. And he said, and I quote, violence, he said he condemned violence in all the forms it takes. But right after that, he criticized law enforcement. And Joe Biden has never called out his campaign staff or his running mate for raising money to bail out violent criminals. And Joe Biden has still never called on Democrat mayors to get their cities under control and back the police. You know, the truth is Joe Biden would double down on the policies that have led to violence in America. And Joe Biden says that America is systemically racist and that law enforcement has, in his words, an implicit bias against minorities. When asked whether he'd support cutting funding to law enforcement, Joe Biden replied, "Yes, absolutely. But I'll make you a promise. Under President Donald Trump, we are going to stand with those who stand on the thin blue line. We're going to back the blue, and we're not going to defund the police, not now, not ever." You know, the people of New Hampshire know we don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement and standing with our African-American neighbors and families and minorities in our major cities. I mean, from the first day of this administration, we've been standing with the men and women on the thin blue line, and we've been expanding educational opportunities and economic and job opportunities and public safety for all of the families in our major cities. So, men and women, I'll tell you what. We're going to keep standing with law enforcement. We're going to keep standing with our African American neighbors, and we're going to keep standing for 4 more years. So if you're taking notes, we rebuild our military. We revived the economy. We stood for life and liberties and law and order. Corky, you got all? The truth is, in the first 3 years, we created the greatest economy in the world. America's respected again, our liberties were more secure, and the constitutional foundation of our nation was strengthened. In a word, in those first 3 years, we made America great again. We did. It's just amazing what we accomplished together in the first 3 years. And then 2020 arrived, and the coronavirus struck from China. But I can tell you, before the first documented case of community transmission within the United States, President Trump demonstrated leadership by doing what no American president had ever done in history when he suspended all travel from China. He put the health of America first. Now, Joe Biden said that decision was hysterical and xenophobic. But I can tell you, having led the White House Coronavirus Task Force since late February, that action saved untold American lives, and it bought us invaluable time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II. It's amazing. When you think of what America has accomplished, I mean, before the end of January, we actually started the process of developing a vaccine. We reinvented testing, and just a couple days ago, we've done 100 million tests, far more than any other nation on earth by far. We saw to the manufacturing and delivery of hundreds of millions of medical supplies across the country. And working with manufacturers across the heartland of this nation, we built ventilators. And no American who ever required a ventilator was ever denied a ventilator in the United States. Incredible. And as we stand here today, we're developing new medicines that are saving lives every day. And I'm proud to report to you that we are on track to have the first safe and effective coronavirus vaccine before the end of this year. We're slowing the spread. We're protecting the vulnerable. We're saving lives and developing life-saving medicines. And that's a testament to the strength and resilience of the people of this country and the people of this great state. It's also a testament to the incredible commitment of our doctors and nurses and healthcare workers and first responders who deserve the admiration of every American. You have our thanks. The progress we've made over this challenging time is a testament to the American people. It's a testament to your president and the leadership marshaled at the national level. But it's also a testament to the partnership that we forge with states all across the country. And let me just take a moment to say, it's also a tribute to the strong and consistent and compassionate leadership of Governor Chris Sununu. He's led this state through a challenging time, and he has our thanks. In the midst of this pandemic, we've come to a heartbreaking moment. It's a heartbreaking milestone. And I want to say there's not a day gone by that I haven't thought of families that have lost loved ones in the midst of this pandemic. Know that you've always been in our hearts, and you'll remain in our prayers. But I truly do believe that because of what we've all done together, because of the President's early action, putting the health of America first, because of what our first responders and doctors and nurses have done all along the way, and because of the compassion and care and cooperation of the American people, I know in my heart that we have saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. And in the midst of this pandemic, we've also focused on the impact on families. Early on, President Trump made it clear we were going to do whatever it took to get families and businesses through this challenging time. We worked with leaders in Congress in both parties, secured more than $4 trillion in direct support to American families, and we created a paycheck protection program that saved 50 million American jobs. So we're going to continue to put the health of America first. We're going to continue to put the health of America first, I promise you, until we reach that day that we have that vaccine and we put this coronavirus in the past. But I'm proud to report to you that because of that strong foundation we poured in our first 3 years, and because of the unprecedented aid that the President was able to secure for families and businesses, after losing 22 million jobs at the height of this pandemic, we've already seen 10.6 million Americans go back to work, including 59,000 Americans right here in New Hampshire. In this state alone, in the month of May, there was a 17% unemployment rate, but the governor just told me a little bit ago, New Hampshire, 5.1% unemployment. We are opening up America again, and we're opening up America's schools. So the choice in this election has never been clearer. The stakes have never been higher. And I'm grateful that you all came out today so we could talk about that choice. Because I need you to leave here today, and I need you to talk about the choice people are facing here in New Hampshire. We came real close in 2016 in the Granite State. But I know the people of New Hampshire, where you believe that you live free or die, we're going to stand for freedom. We're going to deliver New Hampshire for 4 more years for President Donald Trump. But you got to get out and tell the story. And here's the choice. Here's the choice. I mean, it's amazing to think in the middle of a global pandemic, Joe Biden wants to raise taxes by $4 trillion. President Trump, we cut taxes across the board for working families and businesses, and we're going to keep cutting taxes for 4 more years. That's the choice. Joe Biden wants to bury our economy under an avalanche of red tape. He's got his own version of the Green New Deal. President Trump, we actually signed more laws cutting federal red tape than any administration in history, and we're going to keep on chopping for 4 more years. Joe Biden is for open borders, sanctuary cities, free lawyers, and health care for illegal immigrants. President Donald Trump made record investments in our border security. Mexico's doing more to secure our border and theirs than ever before, and we've already built 300 miles of that border wall on the southern border of the United States. And with 4 more years, we're going to build it all. And when it comes to jobs and trade, contrast couldn't be more clear. Joe Biden supported NAFTA. And I got to tell you, out in the heartland, we saw the impact of that trade deal. And he never lifted a finger to reform it or to renegotiate it. But thanks to President Trump, the man who wrote the art of the deal, Americans got a better deal. NAFTA is gone. The USMCA is here. And it's a huge win for New Hampshire. You know, when we came into office, half of our international trade deficit was with one country, the People's Republic of China. I mean, $500 billion a year lost in a trade deficit. For decades, Joe Biden's been a cheerleader for communist China. President Trump, he put China on notice from day one and said the era of economic surrender is over. From early on, our president used his authority. We imposed tariffs on China. We stood strong for American private property. Do you know Joe Biden actually wants to repeal all of the tariffs President Trump put into effect that are leveling the playing field for American workers? But I'll make you a promise. President Donald Trump is going to continue to stand strong against China's trade abuses. We're going to put American jobs and American workers first until China opens their markets and respects private property of Americans. So it's been about security and prosperity, but it's also been about our values. And it's amazing to think. Throughout his career, Joe Biden was one of those Democrats that said while he supported abortion rights, he didn't support taxpayer funding of abortion. He voted consistently for what's known as the Hyde Amendment that prevented taxpayer dollars from being used here at home for abortion. But it was about a year ago, Joe Biden abandoned his historic opposition to taxpayer funding of abortion. And now Joe Biden supports taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. Well, President Donald Trump has stood strong for the Hyde Amendment. We'll stand strong to oppose taxpayer funding of abortion at home or abroad. And President Donald Trump will be the most pro-life president in American history for 4 more years. And we all know, Joe Biden, they keep asking him to publish his list of judges that he'd appoint to the courts. I saw him give a speech this weekend where he said he's not going to do it. This week, we all know, Joe Biden would appoint activist judges to the courts who'd legislate from the bench. And this president, as I said before, has appointed more conservatives to our Court of Appeals than any president in American history. And we're going to keep on appointing strong, principled conservatives from the Supreme Court to all of our federal courts for 4 more years. President Trump, for his part, just released a list, the new list, just like he did in 2016. He told the American people if there were openings on the Supreme Court, he'd draw from that list, and I was there every step of the way when he did just that. He kept his word, and he'll do it again when we fill that seat. So I want to thank you all for coming out today. I really do. I hope you can hear I hope you can hear how clear this choice is. I hope you all can see how clear this choice is, men and women. I mean, the truth of the matter is that we got 42 days to keep America headed on the right track, because we know what they'll do. I mean, they're driving to not only hold the House, but they're trying to win the Senate and win the White House. I said before, the stakes have never been higher, the choice has never been clearer. Now, Joe Biden at his national convention said that democracy is on the ballot. Remember that? Well, I can tell you, I think our economic recovery is on the ballot. I mean, think about it. As our economy is standing back up after the worst pandemic in 100 years to strike our nation, I mean, who do you want in the White House? Someone who presided over the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression, or a proven job creator in the White House for 4 more years? Our economic recovery is on the ballot. Joe Biden says democracy is on the ballot, but I think law and order is on the ballot as well. But, before I leave you, I do want to tell you, I actually think that there are things more foundational to this country that are on the ballot as well. When the dust settles in this election, I think it's not going to be a matter of whether we're, as a nation, more Republican or more Democrat, whether we're more liberal or more conservative, more red or more blue. I think the choice in this election is whether America remains America. It's whether we're going to chart a course for our children and grandchildren that is grounded in our highest ideals of freedom and free markets and personal responsibility and individual liberty, or whether we're going to take that hard left turn that Joe Biden and the radical left would have us take down. So I got to tell you, New Hampshire, we got to decide right here and right now that Joe Biden will never be president of the United States. We're going to re-elect President Donald Trump for 4 more years. I mean, I got to tell you, it really is great to be here at the Laconia Municipal Airport. And I'd have landed my plane here, but we needed just a little bit more runway. But I'm grateful that you came out. But I got to tell you, I hope you leave here today and tell the story of what you've heard today. See, I was out at Laconia Airport. I ran into Mike, and he was talking about the choice we face. Just tell him I said 4 more years means more jobs. Tell him I said 4 more years means more support for our troops. 4 more years means more judges. And you tell him I said I think it's going to take at least 4 more years to drain that swamp. Man. Got 42 days to go, and it's on, New Hampshire. So I need you to bring it. Bring all of this enthusiasm that you brought out to the airport today. I can tell you, it was 4 years ago and a little bit more time that I got the phone call to join this ticket. The President and I didn't know each other very well at all. I'd met him a couple of times. Seen him on TV, right? But honestly, I've worked shoulder to shoulder with this president every day. And I can tell you firsthand, men and women in New Hampshire, there has never been a day, even on the day, on unprecedented opposition, every step of the way, There's never been a day that President Donald Trump didn't get up and fight for you. Now it's our turn to fight for him. And I know you will. The President and I both know the strength of this country isn't found in the marbled halls of Washington, D.C. It's found in places like Laconia. It's found in a place where live free or die isn't just a slogan, it's in your hearts. It's found in the timeless words of New Hampshire's own Daniel Webster, who said, and I quote, "God grants liberty only to those who love it and are always ready to guard and defend it." And so that's what I'm challenging you to do, because I really do believe that freedom's on the ballot in this election. I believe it with all my heart. And it's why I wanted to come up here to New Hampshire, just to challenge you to go out and tell freedom's story. Tell about everything that we were able to do in those first 3 years. And when you go, I encourage you to have faith. Have faith in our fellow Americans in this first in the nation primary state, where you always play an outsized role in the direction of the nation. Have faith that just as they did in 2016, the people of America are going to see this election with clarity. They're going to understand the choice that we face. You know, I'm convinced that a study of American history teaches that every time the American people are given a choice between more freedom and less freedom, they choose more freedom every single time. So go talk to your neighbors and friends. And finally, in these times of great challenge in the life of our nation, where we seem to see more division than any time in my lifetime, I'd encourage you to exercise that other kind of faith too. If you're of a mind to bow the head or bend the knee from time to time, I'd encourage you to do that too. And on this one, I'm not so much asking for you to pray for a candidate or a team or the cause. You know, I truly do believe that there will always be more that unites us in this country than could ever divide us, and chief among those things is faith. So claim those ancient words, that if his people who are called by his name will humble themselves and pray and turn, he'll do like he's always done in much more challenging times in the life of this nation. He'll hear from heaven and he'll heal this land, this one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So pray for America. Pray for all the American people. It'll make a difference. And I'm absolutely convinced that with your continued support, with all of this enthusiasm every day for the next 42 days, between now and November 3rd, we're going to make New Hampshire and America stronger than ever before. We're going to make New Hampshire and America more prosperous than ever before. And with President Donald Trump in the White House for 4 more years, with Corky Messner in a renewed Republican majority in the United States Senate, with Matt Mowers and Steve Negrin in a new Republican majority in the Congress, and with God's help, we will make America great again, again. Thank you all very much. God bless you, and God bless America.